Hello there and welcome to part 8 of the adventures of the former Flying Centaur. He's now the artist formerly known as the Flying Centaur. My name is Ic0n and we're slowly pushing this run towards an end. More slowly, but steadily. That's how we roll. So last few episodes we picked up some nice gear. We're sitting on some good rings. Nice resistances, a gold dragon scale armor is up too. The only thing I'm really lacking here is some electricity resistance. And I think, as soon as I got the gold, I'm gonna buy this RLAC ring. But until that, we're gonna continue going into the vaults. We're sitting on a very good resource stack here. And also here, we're really good at surviving this. So let's just go forward, shoot some Centaur, hopefully survive it. But I'm really fond of clearing down 2 vaults for this run. I'm a bit concerned about vaults 5, although I think this character is very well suited to clear up the last level of this area because of the fast moving speed. I can kite around a lot. But we'll see. For now it's gonna be clearing vaults 3 and 4 before we need to think about other stuff. We're still not mutated in this whole game, which is actually really nice to see. We've already cleared out 3. No demons there showed up to malmutate us, and there's a bunch of elves. Whoa. That's really too much to fight like that, so I'm gonna kite back here and aim for the mage, kill him off, and we're gonna fight behind this corner. So there's the demonologist, and Okawaru granted us a gift. That's a chainmail, but that's not gonna beat my gold dragon armor here by no chance at all. There's so many resistances in this gold dragon armor, and we're not able to kill out the preserver here. So I'm gonna switch over to my axe. They're surrounding me. It's a good situation to just clobber them down. There we go. And the annihilator moves into view, so I'm instantly switching over to my bow to shoot him down. And I think for the last few guys I'm gonna go for the axe. So there we are. Another fight won. And stuff keeps being easy as a centaur when you're hitting that stage of the game, because I have some nice hit point pool here and I'm quick, so it's pretty hard for the enemies to take me down before I can break the line of sight and everything. So there's a invisible deep elf knight. Gonna switch over to the see invisible ring, and after that I'm gonna switch into the cold resistance ring. Because of the giant here coming in, it's handy to have some other resistance here. Okay, there we go. Stuff keeps dying and we're good with it. So I'm gonna put up this ring again, and by now the invis is pretty evocable for us, and I think I should use that more often by now. Totally forgot that I got an endless resource of invisibility in this ring. So there goes a Hell Knight, a Death Knight, Yaktar Captain. That's a lot of baddies. So the Hell Knight is hasted. I'm gonna fall back for now, separate him from the rest of the fray, and fight with the staircase in our back. That feels a lot better than just rushing towards this big pile of enemies. So there's a glaive of flaming. That would be a very nice drop into pole arms. I think I'm gonna come from another angle here, see if we can take them down from here. So we're at 5% chance of getting marked. That's pretty okay. This means I can afford to stand in their faces for some turns without risk getting marked. Marking is one of the biggest threats down here. A very dangerous mechanic, and I absolutely advise everybody to instantly leave the floor if you're not having cleared it enough, if you get marked down here. So there goes a vampire mage, which gets instantly blown up. So far, I feel like I'm only having trouble with 2 well armored enemies, and got marked. So that's what happens even with 5% chance. So like I said, I'm gonna kill off these baddies, and then I'm gonna leave the floor as soon as it gets too dangerous. But until then I can just sit here and let them come to me while it's no big danger to fight this. So slowly the situation is getting a bit more dangerous, but only a bit. Nobody actually reached a tile beside us, so we're here pretty good at fighting this. Just noticed the Orc Knight had a Battle Axe of Distortion there, so it was actually really good that he didn't reach my tile. Definitely a whoops from my side. I should have checked the branding of this weapon, but there's so many branded weapons down here. Okay, let's proceed. Was a lot of enemies so far, and we're here standing right in the face of some dangerous ranged fighters, so I stepped back behind the corner. Let them come one by one. It's a lot more safer. Although I think there's not many dangerous situations down here anymore for me. And we're sitting here at level 24, which is pretty decent for this area. And we're gonna kite back the trolls to fight them with a bit more safety here. They got mited, gotta respect that. Although my armor class is by now pretty decently, although I'm lacking a shield, which is always a bit of a problem. So I'm not too fond of tanking things out. So RX gets to level 20 pretty soon, so that's the point where I can turn it off. I mean, potentially I could turn it off already and go into heroism for that missing 1 point, but I feel like completing it somehow feels good to do so. Although I might say it's not the most efficient way to play this. It would be way more efficient to let Okawaru give me the missing 5 points here. Could have been training something else, something more useful. But I feel like doing this not in the most efficient way, because I really think I don't need to. But it's always good to know what you could optimize, even if you're not into all that micromanagement which would be required to do so. The knowledge alone counts. Because when you play more fragile races or more challenging races, it's always nice to know where you can cut some edge to survive. Talking about stuff like octopodes with melee setups or something like that. In these situations, it gets really interesting to know where you can optimize pretty well. So, enough of that. We're still having some walls to clear, yet still this is very easy for the most part for us. The interesting stuff will begin when we are done with Waltz 4, although there's here still the possibility to find some mighty unique enemy, but by now I think I should be fine with most stuff. Since we can potentially run away from pretty much everything, and I'm having so many blinking scrolls at my disposal, a lot of teleport scrolls, heal wounds, there's many resources for me available to survive even bad situations, so I'm pretty happy with all these resources at my disposal. So we hit the Wind Drake, although I'm Not gonna try it again. It's a shapeshifter, in fact. Turned into a floating eye, which was really easy to shoot down. So we have no line of sight with the Warden, which is pretty okay. Sentinel, my bad. Which is pretty okay because that means he can't try to mark us. Now he can. So we took him down. And there's only the Warden left. Nothing too dangerous here. Okay, there was nothing. Mistaken the Okawaru line for some drop or something. So agility potion, we've decided to not pick them up because our inventory space is very limited right now. So we failed to kill the Convoker in time, and he summoned a bunch of more Convokers. Bit awkward, but stuff like that happens. Now we're blowing this guy up with only one shot. This guy is going down with 2 hits. Got a bit unlucky with this pal here. Okay, but it's no biggie. Some simulacrum. These are really dangerous if you're not cold resistant. They get a lot of extra cold damage on their basic attacks. Gotta respect that, but we're sitting at 1 pip of cold resist. Pretty okay. So necromancers always come with some undead minions which are fitting to the theme of the floor. You meet them. So this guy had some dragons. Pretty badass, I'd say. Okay, we got this. I'm noticing I'm picking up potions of flight. That's something I can turn down because I have flying ability on my barding. So that's one more inventory slot to free up, or we can put up some more useful stuff. And off to Waltz 4 we go. Finally, we're getting closer to Waltz 5, which will be the 3rd rune or our demise. I'm gonna switch over to the Convoker here before I can summon some more friends. And there's a Frost Giant. I don't want to fight this like that, so let's step around the corner and start shooting. And I think I'm gonna axe into this situation to get them down quicker while they're surrounding me. After all, since we're lacking a shield, we always take some damage while in melee, and I'm gonna pop off a potion of curing here to get my missing HP back. It's kind of like not too necessary, but it certainly feels better to have no reduced HP. If I later on will survive at some point with 1 or 2 HP left, I will know why I survived. Well, thanks to the potion of curing and to that decision. Stuff like that happens if you keep an eye out for that. It's very funny every time you see that some very small decision saved your life. Really like it when that happens. Okay, so far it's really relaxing clearing out this stuff here. But on the other hand, I really feel like stuff gets really dangerous as soon as the game feels that relaxing, because I tend to make mistakes when I'm not properly challenged by the fights. But right now, not even too dangerous baddies are showing up. Well, there's some challenge. There's another demonologist. I want to step behind the corner to break the line of sight, because these guys only will summon stuff if they're seeing me. So that's a very easy way to deny summoners their threat potential from afar. If you're lacking a corner to hide behind, summoners can be quite obnoxious. So, speaking of obnoxious, there's this archer which just doesn't want to die. And I don't dare to step forward to axe him down because he's having some friends behind there. So I'm shooting until I finally hit him. That was the safer option here. There's another unique rope lying around here, I think. Yeah. It's even a gift from Okawaru. He thinks I don't need to wear gold dragon scales. He thinks I should take some lighter armor. No Okawaru, but thanks for the offer. But I'm always a bit curious, and I'm carrying around some ID scrolls, so let's ID it. The Rope of Wonder, Blink and Invisibility. Funny stuff. Well, for a mage, this could be potentially some interesting item, yet still mages tend to lack evocation skill in a larger scale, and Blink is not too rare for a caster here, in fact. So let's take down this shapeshifter. No, I'd say this rope is not too good. It's not useless, but it's not too good. Besides, I'm having both these spells on rings available, which is really nice. Okay. Getting closer to Vaults 5. I picked up a Scroll of Immolation because I feel like they're really useful for situations like these. Forgot to pick them up on this run. And I keep forgetting them too much because Immolation Scrolls are really handy tools to clear out lots of enemies at once. If you are having the proper fire resistance for melee setups, but since I'm a pure ranged fighter, these Immolation Scrolls are actually really good. So there we go, and a bunch of Yaktars down. And the more I think about it, I want to play some crossbow build at some point. I'm gonna record that as well. And there we got marked. So I'm just waiting here for stuff to show up. I have the staircase in my back, so I can always retreat if there's something bad happening. But since we're clearing out this whole floor with ease, I might as well try to just stand and fight and kill as much baddies as possible. So now I'm getting surrounded a bit too much, so I'm stepping back up here and gonna wait out the mark. But I'm gonna switch over to my axe and beat down these guys. And it's really a lazy way to deal with a lot of enemies on this floor, to use the mark like that. But we're obviously too strong for this area right now. I've cleared the whole depths in the last episode, and I really noticed the XP advantage I have for this area. It feels really easy to clear out this whole mess. So we went recalling again, but this time we beat him down before he could finish his spell. It's actually pretty nice. So I'm auto-exploring a bit because that always will pick up items which the enemies dropped, or it will stop at some items if you're finding something useful. It's a nice way to keep track of items dropped by enemies in a huge fight like that. Another way to look it up is to go for Control and X, and you're gonna see every single item in your line of sight listed up there. It's also a very useful option. So a Shadow Dragon, that's a bit more dangerous, but I think I can stand and fight. Yeah, I can. Shadow Dragons are really dangerous dragons because for the most games I play, I tend to lack some resistance to negative energy. I think there might be a necromancer around. And I like the resistance from negative energy in larger scales. So these dragons potentially always deal some damage, apply some draining, and that's always a combination which, well, it's some moderate pressure which always happens when these guys are around. That's a bit obnoxious, in my opinion, but I might as well pick up more resistance to negative energy. That helps too. What helps too is being a follower of the Shining One. They get the full resistance to negative energy for free, which is a very powerful trait. Simply by following the god and killing stuff in his name. It's really only one of many strong options the Shining One offers. Alright, Waltz 4 is getting to an end. I'm still only at XL24 here. I hope I can finish at least to 25 before I enter Waltz 5. It would be some more HP, and I like to be as ahead as possible before I get there. I'm gonna check if there's any loose end left to cover up before we go down to Waltz 5. And there's an archer. Let's axe him down. He had a scroll of fear for us, so we have 2 of them again. There's a hornet again. A lot of hornets on this level for Waltz, and there were no shapeshifters. That was the most interesting part of it. So there's some more ugly thing, where there's one ugly thing. Oh, this time it's only one. So we're done with Waltz 3 and 4, and looking over this whole options of branches I have, there's not too much left. I could go into the crypt, although without a holy brand weapon it's potentially also very dangerous. The slime pits, but that's also pretty dangerous. Entrance to hell is available, the abyss is available, although I don't want to go for abyss. It's well, I feel more comfortable with taking Waltz 5, and I think I can do it. So let's check. I want to have some more immolation scrolls before I take this, because I feel they can help me a lot with Waltz 5. Since I'm always able to keep my distance to the enemies, I can use these explosions in the clouds to get rid of big bunches of enemies. And that's what I need down there. The only thing that's left to do would be go for a few levels of the Ziggurat, which is located on the depths, but I think I should be fine with Waltz 5. That's some famous last words, by the way. I think I'm fine with Waltz 5. So let's take down this warden. And again, I'm noticing these guys in plate armor take a while to kill, even with a +8 longbow velocity and some gloves of archery. I noticed that these guys take their time to kill. I can't change that, actually, not with a longbow, because I'm close to max damage on this longbow. Speaking of max damage, no options. So if I enter down here, I'm going to be surrounded by a lot of baddies. And so for this kind of situation, we're going to bring in a potion of haste. I'm going to evoke invisibility. Although many of these enemies are able to see me still, it's a little protection from some of these. As far as I remember, those Ic0ns can't shoot me right now. This mage doesn't see me. This Ic0n doesn't see me. These guys all see me though. So what I'm going to do is instantly dart through this hallway, and I took the wrong one. They will set up the alarm, and that's gonna lure all these enemies into my vicinity here, which is actually really bad, thinking of it. I can outrun these easily, and I think that's what I'm gonna do, because this part of the map will soon be swarmed with everything of these walls around, because these things make a terrible lot of noise. You're gonna see that on the noise meter any step. So we didn't hear a blaring, so there is a convoker. Somehow they seem to not set off the trap, because I didn't get a signal from there, but we're getting swarmed from behind. And right now I'm gonna clear up the stuff in my back first, but that's obviously more it's obviously harder than it looks. So we're gonna put up the axe and hopefully kill the Reaver. So we're swapping, and for now I'm gonna pull off my first scroll of immolation. So I'm aiming for one of these guys without a shield, because I think he will die faster than his comrades here. And I'm gonna shoot the next guy here to trigger the next explosion, and hopefully the next explosion. And we're standing too close now. Kovaru granted us some arrows. So, sadly again, no kill. So there we go. The immolation does a lot of work here, and it separates the enemies from the rest of the bunch, which is also pretty useful. And every time I got one down from these, they triggered some more useful clouds for me. So there we go. Kovaru gave us a Randard ringmail from the looks of it, but this guy with the large shield is pretty hard to take down. I think I'm gonna switch over to the axe, finesse into this, go hero, and let's see if we can take a few down of these. I'm gonna do this until something in my back shows up, and then I'm gonna redecide what to do. That's right now. So these two vault guards aren't too dangerous. The priests are way more dangerous, and I'm having one more down there in my line of sight, which is able to smite me down. So I want to run further until I am at least able to break the line of sight with one of these high priests, which happened now. And now I'm going to proceed killing the first one. Hopefully he will die. Okay, so I peeled off the second one, and right now I'm safe killing a few of these guys until this happens. And now I'm gonna try to aim at the priest again, because his damnation can just punch through my defenses, and I'm already lacking some HP. I mean, I have a ton of healing potions on me, so that's not too much of a deal, but I don't need to provoke it. So there's a shadow dragon. That's actually pretty scary, but we're still into finesse, so we're shooting at 0.3 turns per shot, which is really insanely quick. It's also a plus side from Kovaru. Okay, there's the next high priest. But this situation here is pretty good for us. As long as they're coming one by one, we're not taking too much damage. The war gargoyle, though, was pretty heavily armored. And I'm noticing that heavily armored dudes are a bit of a problem for this character. Although I'm sitting on a +4 slaying bonus for ranged weaponry with these archery gloves. So longbows are sufficient to finish the game, although they feel a bit lacking compared with other late game weaponry, which requires a skill level of 20. But it's still working pretty decently. It's only some enemy which are hard to punch down. The Iron Dragon dies rather quickly, but that's mainly because it's large. And this guy is repelling missiles, but he will be closing in anyways. So I just decided to shoot him down until he's on the tile next to me, and then I would have switched over to my melee option. But until then I might as well try shooting him down. So there's a Titan. That's the next priority because they feature lightning damage and I don't have resistance from electricity. And I think I should go for the Stone Giant next. And I'm actually finishing this with the axe. I can kill both of them simultaneously. So we're healing up again. And so far it looks like the most dangerous part of the vaults is already survived. I mean, I don't want to shout victory too soon here. It's still very dangerous. There are a lot of very scary combinations possible down here. Yet still I feel like the first few steps down here decide a lot about the trouble rating of your whole vault run. So there's a Lich and a Titan. Potentially pretty dangerous, but the Velocity brand does a very good job with Liches compared to the Venom Bow I used before, which I still carry around and it has resistance from electricity. Totally forgot that I have some option of electricity resistance here. Should keep that in mind. So the convoker goes into recalling, and it's this little red symbol here in the corner which shows that they are channeling their recall spell. It's useful to know when they use it to focus them down. There goes a scroll shop. Well. I'm not gonna buy these scrolls right now, but I'm gonna mark them. It's always useful to have these on the shopping list to know where your stuff is at. And we're here with the silver rune, and if I was in trouble, I would now dart to the exit. If you're ever facing the feeling that you're not capable of doing this area completely, it's perfectly sane to just ninja the rune and get away from there. You don't need to kill everything in the game to win the game. That's something I tend to forget by myself a lot, actually. I have to admit that I keep stumbling into situations where I took a bad fight that I just could have said no, I'm not gonna do it. So there's an iron giant. That's pretty interesting. I don't see them too often. So that's potentially a shapeshifter. I see. That's why I'm not seeing these too often down here. He was a fraud. Okay, so we took down the first quarter, got the room, but I don't want to stop here. I feel like I'm perfectly okay with clearing the rest of this area here. So there's a storm dragon and a shapeshifter again. Ugh, the blob. The glowing shapeshifters are way more dangerous than normal shapeshifters, and let's have a look at this situation. I mean, that's nothing too dangerous here, but we got netted, which is really obnoxious. I think I'm gonna axe into this for a moment and see what'll happen, because I think I feel like the axe is better at punching down these heavily armored enemies somehow. Feels like the freezing brand, or I don't know why I feel like heavy armored enemies are easier to kill with that weapon since it has the same delay, the same damage. It shouldn't be like that, but yet still it feels like that. Maybe it's just me, maybe there's something I don't know. If you know it, tell me please. I'm not falling to the idea that I might know everything about this game. In fact, only a moderately experienced user. I played this game for a lot of years by now, but I never took it with a proper ambition until lately. And now I'm having some real fun down here. Speaking of fun, this situation is getting kinda unfun. The tentacled monstrosity is pretty spooky here, because it can constrict me and pin me down on a square. And also I took a wrong step here. I don't want to get into this center of this area. I should have kited back here, but now's the damage done. I can't change it. I will try to get past the tentacled monstrosity, and luckily I didn't take too much damage. So okay, everywhere I go enemies keep piling up. I'm gonna dart across this Ic0n, and again I want to bring one enemy at a time into my line of sight to make this fight a bit more safe. And every time too many baddies get into my line of sight or somebody gets close to me, I start retreating. Yet still we're reaching the end of the line, but this time it's a better direction. So this Tengu just doesn't want to die somehow, and I feel like it's a good situation to bring out the lightning rod, but they're too far away for now. So let's go for the lightning rod and see what we'll do for us. There we go. We fried him down. No, we didn't actually. So I think I'm gonna take another shot. That was pretty good. And I'm gonna go for the X here. Yet still, the situation is getting more and more dangerous, so I'm gonna go into finesse to finish this job quickly. Because I got corroded a lot. It's pretty spooky to be corroded. So I'm taking this as a ranged point. Okay. But it looks like we've got this situation. So there we go. One more bad enemy like a lich or something else scary in this corner there would have brought me to a blink scroll, but we didn't need that. Oh my gosh. I think I'm actually a bit happy. Oh. Well, no. No thanks. It's a very strong weapon, but 0.1, it's +3. That's really not too good in terms of plus hit. And it's also a very dangerous mod to have this Berserkitis enchantment on a melee weapon. You don't want to have no control about your berserking. Berserking is really useful. I love this mechanism in this game. But every time you lose the control of your berserk mechanism, stuff is not good because it's hard to calculate, hard to properly play situations when you never know when you're going berserk because you get exhausted and slowed afterwards. So I don't like these items. If it was a Formicid though, it would have been a nice weapon because they can't go berserk. Or a mummy would have some fun too. Anything that's protected from berserk would be happy with this and has no problems with this situation. So this hallway is a pure slaughterhouse. And let's try to completely finish out this quarter. Yeah, that's including the center. So there's an entropy weaver. I think that was the source of the corrosion back there. And he's down. That's a -4 corrosion. That's not too deadly. Shadow Dragon. I don't like these guys because it's also very dangerous to kite them. Oh, there goes my first Ancient Lich. So these guys feature some really nasty spells, and I'm not gonna mess around here. Gonna instantly go into finesse because I want to shoot this guy down as quickly as I can. So there's an OOD which costs us almost 100 HP. It's an insane hit, and that's why I want to kill these guys as quickly as I can because they're depending on their spellbooks, there's some really nasty stuff which can happen around these guys. When they're able to summon greater demons, they can summon some fiends or tormentors or some other demons which are capable of tormenting you, which means halving your HP. And now imagine a torment, halving our HP, and in that succession this OOD for another 100 HP. That would be almost instant death with only 2 skills crashing into us in a rapid succession. So that's why I think every time these guys show up, I'm instantly going to bring up the finesse to reduce the risk here as good as I can. So there's some major enemies here, and the danger level of the rest of the walls compared with walls 5 is really steep. So there's such an insane power spike once you head down here. There's some enemies down here which you will only see again in the Realm of Sod, and that's some point why they're so dangerous. So more and more Ic0n piling up. And there's another Titan. Yet still, we didn't need a single resource down here. So, again, the Centaur had his problems in the early game, and so did the player actually. I wasn't too used to them. It's been a long time since I played a Centaur the last time, and I'm only lately focusing more on surviving the early game as good as I can. Back in the days when I played more, before I went playing online and playing offline, I really had a playstyle where I just went straight with the face into stuff and didn't care if I die. If I die quickly, I can start a new game quickly. That's a very nice way to learn something about the game, but nowadays I get more and more fascinated by the thought of streaking, being able to survive any kind of situation, and stuff like that. I'm still in a learning phase, still not too confident of many things I do, but I'm pretty happy with the progress I'm making here. So this chainmail has some nice resists, but it's never gonna beat my gold dragon armor. Yet still I want to try, because sometimes you get some crazy plus 14 items which can easily compare with this gold dragon armor, and it has the same set like a gold dragon armor, only 1 pip more of cold resistance, and if this armor would have been plus 14, it would have been actually a lot better than the armor I'm right now wearing. So it's kind of worth to try out stuff which is close to your armor class. At least the chainmail is the closest thing I still try out. Scale mails and ring mails won't beat my GDA by now. That's really unlikely. So I get lazy. So, okay. There is another shop. Looks like we're having a shop level here. What a lovely Lasher tank. It's a shame it's fragile. Okay. But there's really nothing in this shop I want to have. Had to ogle on this Lasher tank a bit. Lasher tank are really good weapons for archers. I think I could have gone for that as well. It's mainly because they're capped out at a skill level of 14, and to get the comparison, they're sitting at a base damage of 16, which is pretty insane, capped out at a skill level of 14. Let's compare that with our battle axe. It has a lower base accuracy, less base damage, and needs a lot more skill level. So Lasher Tang are pretty rare weapons, but if you happen to run into a branded one pretty early, it's worth the investition if you have a character which doesn't want to invest too many skill points into weaponry. But you can't wield a shield with these. Only if you're a pharmacist, that is. Then you can wear a shield and wield a Lasher Tang. Okay, so the upper half of this level is done. I want to feel confident, but I know I shouldn't be, because there's still the other half to do, and there can be another whole horror scenario waiting down there for us. So there's a fire giant, but it's dying rather quickly. So I don't want to eat permafood right now. There should be some chunks lying around somewhere. So the Scroll of Immolation is one definite to-go item for Vaults 5 in my opinion, because every character can bring up the Scroll of Immolation, get into a Potion of Haste. Well, some people can't, but most races are able to haste, immolate, and somehow if you're able to blow up at least one of these guys with wands or ranged weaponry or spells, they will get into a chain reaction where it can clear up the hallway pretty decently. And if you're timing it right, it can really save the day down here. Immolation is a very, very useful scroll overall, but it really shines in my opinion down here in making bad situations quickly manageable, because you get so much AoE for no spell points. Only using the scroll brings you there. It's really cool. So, a jewelry shop. Sadly, these shops don't feature too many items I still need. I mean, the potions were the most interesting part so far. And I'm gonna pick up this ancient weapons scroll ASAP. There's some more teleportation, but I'm gonna wait and if something really nice shows up. But I'm really happy that my longbow is now at +9. So there's a more interesting corrosion resistance ring, but it's only a small upgrade to this one. I don't know if I want to invest. Let's keep checking the other stores first. So this potion of resistance I'm gonna pick immediately, because when you need them, you need them. Don't hesitate to pick them up. They can cover up your lacks of resistance pretty well. And when I'm in Zod, against orbs of fire, they can be really useful if I'm not at full fire resistance until then. Oh, there's 26. We're getting closer. What I wanted to say was the resistance potions can bring you to full resistance if you're at a resistance like that, which is for some situations very, very important. If you're facing huge fights featuring many different elemental sources, these potions help you a lot to survive a bit longer, because at some point you will always take some damage if you keep fighting long enough. That's just basic physics of this game. So I hope these will help me in Zod. That's all I want to say. And I'm sitting at a pile of 4 of these. That's not too much, but hopefully we're not meeting more orbs of fire than we have potions. That would be really nice. Okay, so there's a storm dragon. I want to get away from these walls immediately, so he can't double zap us. There we go. So we're out exploring the rest of this floor, and we survived the Vaults 5 scenario, which is really, really nice. That means we're able to pick up the run for the orb. And I want to auto-explore this floor, because I really want to know if I missed something. But it looks like this is a shop floor, so this means we found a decent amount of gold down here. I started with a lot less gold when I hit this floor, and I think it's time to buy these items we're having them marked here. So I want to start with the potions, because I think these are the most important resources. I missed some resistance potions there. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up the Berserk Rage as well. They can really save the day. So I want to save enough money to pick up the Ring of Aralek, but apart from that I'm only stocking up in movement scrolls, although they get less useful down in Zod because of the permanent orb effect, and I think I'm pretty set here. I can still afford both of these rings. I'm gonna do that, because that's not much of an upgrade, but let's see if it does anything. Could have been a total waste of money here. So yes, it was. It's only for the looks of it, but yeah, shiny. So dodging is not a Centaur's style, I guess. It's more running. But we're gonna pick up the Aralek ring. So there's a golden dragon. Could be a shapeshifter though. Okay. I want to have the Aralek ring so I can get rid of the bow, because I don't feel the poison bow does much for us at this stage. So There's another resist negative option, but I don't think I want to pick that up. So we got the Armalec ring, so I'm gonna drop this. It still has a nice amount of resist cold that could be useful to some degree, but I have another pip of cold resistance as a ring option, so I think I can go without that. So we got some more gold left, so I think I'm gonna pick up the resistance potion. I'm not gonna go for that teleportation scroll though, because I think I'm set with these. 19 should suffice. So we're going to Zot now, and I'm gonna call this an episode for now. I'm gonna just walk over to the entrance to Zot because I wanna dedicate a whole episode for Zot, because it will be a long run and I wanna be rested up, prepared, and want to have some time and space in my episode. Don't want to divide the Zot run if I can, because that's the epics of the game and I should be able to take it in one go. I'm really prepared here for pretty much everything. Still, this is one of the most insane runs I ever had in terms of headgear. There's not a single helmet this whole game. It's really insane. Never seen something like that. Let's see, will we find a helmet down there in Zot? Or some magic cloak for any... Well, there's only an invisible cloak. But it's really insane how starved out this run is. So I actually got an idea how I will spice up this episode. I'm not gonna leave yet. I've decided that I will stay for a moment longer. We're gonna go for this Ziggurat and swoop into the upper levels. I have so many blinking scrolls that I can safely afford to see if I can pick up some other goodies. I'm able to talk a bit about Ziggurat, and yeah, it's gonna be some fun before I leave, because I feel like there's still some time left on this episode. So Ziggurat is an assortment of 27 floors, which get bigger and bigger with every floor you take, and they always contain some nice loot, like this insane Armalec ring. Okay, so we bought this only to drop it here. So let's check, is this an option for purple wearing? Actually not too much, but it's a very nice way of bringing Armalec with some other nice and useful stats. So the thing about Ziggurat is you always have these gates outside, and it's a one-way run. Every time you go into a floor, you can't leave. And there's a Pan Lord, that's pretty scary. With an Executioner, that's not too scary, but immediately go into Finesse, because I don't want to lose time here killing this guy. So he can summon baddies. It's potentially pretty scary. And if everything goes wrong, I can still go for a quick blink over to the exits. So I'm pretty fond of taking this situation. I'm gonna pop my Lamp of Fire on the Pan Lord and see what it'll do. Created some fire clouds, it's pretty useful. Let's start firing, and he's taking a lot of damage from our arrows. We got silenced, but that's not too much of a biggie. So I don't think I needed this Lamp of Fire actually. Felt a bit like overkill. We only gotta Book of the Warp here, which is a very good spellbook, but I won't take it. Bunch of Draconians on this floor. Every floor is kind of themed to something, and it's really funny. So we'll have a Scorcher or Monk. I'm gonna Finesse again, I think. So bring down the Scorcher, I'd say, and the rest will be pretty easy. With Finesse, I'm able to shoot pretty quickly, And I'm gonna axe into this. My axe will be really useful down there in Zod. Oh, I've already noticed that. So let's go for this cloak. It's a plain +2 cloak. I don't want to get into this. The cloud immunity is way more useful. So another scroll of summoning. That's really nice. So this floor is a bit bigger, but it's featuring insectoid critters. It's a lot of spider lair enemies. Actually not too scared of that. Took them down pretty decently. So we find another scroll of ancient weapon. That's really interesting. Ancient armor, that will help us too. So there's some ancient weapon for our battle axe. I like that. Some staff. I'm not gonna mess around with that. And now we have some elf. That's also pretty doable. I'm gonna go for this demonologist first before he can summon too many baddies. Okay, stepping in a line of sight with him to bring him down correctly. So I'm still firing manually every single shot, just because I want to be able to react if something really bad shows up. But it looks like the demonologist was kind of like the most dangerous thing. These floors so far were really easy, but you can meet really bad stuff down here. So this Pan Lord will get accompanied by a lot more demons the deeper you get. And yeah. So, another ancient weapon scroll. I'm really happy picking up all these. Bringing up my battle axe to a more powerful level. There's a Necronomicon. No thank you. Did I pick up some junk? Doesn't look like it. So, scroll of ancient weapon. That's finished battle axe here. Let's get downstairs, see what the next level is, and that's the point where stuff gets really ugly. That's an undead floor, and these mummy priests are pretty dangerous. They can torment. Ugh. That's a lot of damage from this guy. And that's enough for this time. I'm gonna waste 2 of my blinking scrolls here. Let's have a look if I really want to have something of these. Doesn't look like anything too useful here. Potion of resistance. A triple sword. Okay, that would be nice, but we're not into these. So I'm not gonna mess around with this situation. I'm gonna immediately blink a second time and say bye-bye to the Ziggurat. And the rest of the mummies which followed are only harmless. Guardian mummies are only melee. And we picked up some really good options. We finished our battle axe. We only blew 2 scrolls of blinking, which get less useful down there in Zod. And now it's time to finish this episode once we're standing on the hallway to Zod, that is. And yeah, that's noobie Ziggurat rating. Always worth a try. If you're having some blinking scrolls, that's really mandatory to have a few of these to blow them up. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm really looking forward to the last episode, which I think will be the last episode. I'm gonna clear Zod for the next game. And I hope you'll tune in. Thanks for watching, and see you guys soon.